Hello and welcome to Telecom TV. I'm Martin Warwick and we're here at Telecom TV's very own event, the DSP Leaders Forum. I'm talking with Yves Belligot, who is the Director of Network Strategy at the Orange Group. Yves,
Hello,
welcome.
Martin.
Thanks for talking to us.
Thank you, Martin.
Yves, how much of Orange's networks will be new in the 5G world? And how is your current physical network going to play a role in delivering 5G services?
Well, in fact, in 5G, the good part is that we will reuse a lot of existing networks. We will reuse the pylons, we will reuse the fiber optics. And this is the parts of the networks that are very costly, on which we have huge investment. And the other good news is that when it comes to the functions themselves, and deploying 5G functions into our data centers, this is where that is less costly in terms of investment, but we have huge margin to add new functionalities, to add new 5G functions. So the good track will be that we will build on existing radio sites, but be able to deploy new functionalities.
Thank you. Let's move on and have a bit of a reality check. We all know what the hype cycle has been like around 5G because I've been part of it. But can we just have a reality check, looking back particularly as an example of what's happened with NFV and the overpromises that were made on that?
Yes, it is something that we have tried not to make too much of overpromises, but as an industry, we need at the same time to acknowledge that the road towards virtualization has huge potentials, but at the same time that will take some time, that we need to learn collectively, and that will not happen in 1 or 2 years. So this is something pretty important, so that we keep the confidence, and including keeping the confidence in all our companies by the people who are not deeply involved into these topics, that we made the right decisions, but that we need to learn and we need to collectively progress to build that promise of very agile and networks and also capable of delivering new services.
What do you think occasioned the overpromising in the NFV sphere? Were we mesmerised by our own abilities? What happened? Why did we think things were going to be so much quicker than they've actually turned out to be?
Well, I would say maybe two examples. One example is about the benefits of virtualization, that virtualization would reduce costs. That, yes, of course it will, but it will in some time. It does not from the day one. It will not in the first years when we start deploying virtualization. So there was a bit of over-promising on the financial impact of virtualization. Maybe another example is there was kind of a race for all service providers to claim to have done part or most of the road and to be 50, 70, 80% virtualized. This is nice, but at the end we all learned that there are some roadblocks, that is not as easy as we planned initially, that at the end our target goal is to have real decoupling between the hardware and the software. That takes a bit of various steps and we need to learn. And this is just two examples of when we said what we said initially as our ultimate goal was understood to be what we would achieve in 1 or 2 years, which is not in fact totally the case.
But I mean, when you look back at it, it is pretty ludicrous to say we're 50% virtualized or 60% or whatever it is, because if you're not totally virtualized, you're not. It's like being a little bit pregnant, isn't it? You can't be slightly pregnant. You can't be slightly virtualized, can you?
Well, maybe, but at the end, that was easy for people not really fully understanding what it is to get one rough figure and to claim globally that we are pretty good because we are that much virtualized. And this is the type of thing that we need to separate in fact, the high-level message that this is something that as an industry we need to develop globally, and the reality that all the legacy services are still based on legacy equipment for quite some time, which is just the best because this is investment that was made in the past and there is no need to reinvest right now. Sure. But that we have the basis for the future services to build on the latest capabilities that are really built on virtualized solutions.
And of course, we don't want to have a repeat of the disappointment of NFV, because people are now saying it is disappointing because it hasn't arrived at the time that it was supposed to arrive.
When it is really arriving now, by the way. So
yes,
they are disappointing when we are having pretty good results. So that's
precisely
the shame.
So another question to you is going to be about standards. We're talking off camera about the alignment, or the realignment, or the alignment of standards. What do you mean by that?
Yes, maybe sometimes the word standard is considered as being kind of old-fashioned. In fact, whether we call it standard, building an ecosystem, having alignment, the point is, as an industry, we cannot develop a large number of different flavors, different technologies. So we need, in the field of virtualization and ultimately in 5G, but even before 5G, for going to the road towards virtualization, we need a limited number of different telco infrastructure on which different vendors build virtualized functions, their VNFs, but to avoid that each operator has his own definition of what is a telco infrastructure, and at the end that becomes unmanageable in fact for all parties, for the suppliers, because they will have too many different interoperability testing to be made, and for us, because we would not have access in fact to all the suppliers, because since they would have to make some selections and not be compatible with everyone. So one way or the other, we need to limit the number of configurations, whether that's through standards as we usually understand that term, or whether that's kind of building an ecosystem or open source something that is not clearly well defined, but we need to narrow down the number of profiles.
Okay. Yves Belligo, thank you very much indeed.
Thank you, Martin.